required attention for this basically is a non-verbal communication that involves body movement. So the body movement, anything that is not verbal could be part of body language, like non-verbal or entire non-verbal is part of body language, because you not just about hands, body, legs, the way you present yourself, the way you look yourself present yourself to the audience, the way your facial expressions are, the way you play with your eyes, nose, mouth, chin, ear, everything, everything is part of a body language. Body language is a very, very important aspect, precisely because we tend to think that, and also we historically, as far as communication is concerned, historically we have been laying emphasis on spoken language. That's why we have too much business, too much big industry happening on spoken English and all, right? In terms of English language, French, German and all. So it's all about spoken English, spoken German, spoken Hindi. It's all about how you speak. But we hardly have any training institutions, or we hardly have any discourse running parallelly. How do we present ourselves other than the language? Language is always there. Of course, language is very, very important. I'm not going to dismiss it. But the whole point is language is going to stay there with you. But the language is not just what you speak. Language is also there when you present yourself through your body. So body also speaks. So along with your language that is uttered through your mouth, the body also speaks, which is very, very important, that we actually don't care or we don't pay much attention to. We tend to think that I speak very well, so I make sense, or I have very good language skills, I have good vocabulary skills, I have, say, good intonation, say I have good accent, and I think I have good command over language, and the way I use, the way I play with words. That should be enough for us, kind of to pull the show. Absolutely, to some extent, that is enough. But unfortunately, that is not going to be enough just to pull the show. That is going to be enough to show that you can speak. Nothing less, nothing more. If you really want to be a good public speaker, if you want to really impress people, of course, I'm assuming that I'm talking to teachers. So all of you know what I'm talking about. I'm not speaking something great or something new. And something about body language is something very, very basic. And other reason why we don't really have a separate discourse running on body language is that it is understood that, or it is assumed that everybody would know naturally. That is also to some extent true. But to some extent it's true, but more or less you tend to forget or tend to kind of ignore the importance of body language. But the reality is that more than language, like okay, even if I have to give an excuse to language, at least 50% if you put emphasis on language, I would like to put rest of the 50% on body language. See, more than language, you also speak through your body. So absolutely, like your language, body also has a language. Body has words. Body has sentences. Body has punctuation. Body has aesthetic ability to communicate certain emotions, certain attitudes, certain meanings, especially meanings. Meaning is very, very important. Sometimes you don't make much sense with your language. Sometimes you fumble. Sometimes words don't come to you. Sometimes the language will not come to you. Sometimes some people are don't have or not blessed with the kind of proficiency that others have. But if you have a right body language, if you have a right presence with your body, half of the job is done. Why? The body language will make or create a positive impression on the audience. Once audience have a positive impression on you, doesn't matter what you do. It's always the case. Whether you are a teacher, whether you are a parent, whether you are a stranger who's speaking on the road, or whether you are a leader speaking in front of lakhs of people, especially political leaders. Political leaders, should always understand. Some of them will actually follow this papers and they read and all this stuff, but most of the politicians are excellent communicators. One should absolutely learn. Everybody hates politicians. Everybody has a lot of negative opinion on politicians. That excellent people, in the way they understand the audience, the way they put their body for the sale, the way they deploy their body to communicate themselves to the audience. It's not just about what they speak. It's all about how do they speak, what kind of expression they give, how do they present their body, what kind of intonation they speak when they speak certain aspects, language, words, emphasis, when they are laying emphasis not just on word, but while emphasis on word, but at also time, at the same time you also put emphasis through your bodily emphasis on certain words and sentences. So each gesture and posture is like a single word that may have several meanings. And absolutely, I'm telling you, I mean, I'm not going to exaggerate body language just because I'm kind of doing giving a lecture on body language, but body language plays a very, very crucial role. I absolutely strongly believe in that. If you make mistakes with your language, you will be forgiven, because after all, if you are speaking a foreign language, adopted language, or a third language or second language like English, which is not spoken at home, or the audience who are not really comfortable and all, absolutely makes sense if you are like have few issues with proficiency, intonation, and accent and all. That makes sense. But if you are not able to create right environment with the speaker or with the audience, with the person who's listening, you terribly fail in what you are trying to communicate. The communication does not take place because you don't have the right body language. You may have the right language, and sometimes you have a right language and you don't have a right body language. So the audience and the viewer or the receiver will have a preconceived notions. Preconceived notions always, remember, you all, anyway, I'm kind of telling you something that you all know, but I'm kind of trickling again, reminding you again the importance of body language, either in the class or in general. It's absolutely important because it is something that is going to create a lot of impact. As I told you, if it is once the positive impact is created, absolutely doesn't matter what you say. They may not agree with you, they may agree with you, but they will not fight with you. They agree to disagree with you. But if they don't like your body language, if you put very aggressive posture, if you are very intimidating, if you are provoking them with your body language, or if you are kind of insulting or what do you say, intimidate them with your body language, absolutely they are not going to like it. And as a speaker, not just as a speaker, to be frank, as a leader, just in class or in an institution where you are, or in society in general, as a leader, leader will always like to buy the people. You should be able to impress them. It doesn't matter, no matter what happens. You can't really say that I make much sense, but people don't understand, or people don't convince. People don't get convinced because you don't communicate the way you are supposed to communicate. Of course, there are exceptions. If people may not agree with your points, but if you have a right language and body language, at least they come to a conclusion where they will say that, sir or Mr., I don't agree with you, but I like the way you are saying. So I like that. So that at least you bring them to the table, discussion table, where you can prove you can persuade them, you can convince them, and you can prove your leadership skills. Anyway, that's kind of a large introduction that I can think of about body language. So what is it? What are we talking about? What is this body language all about? So there are a lot of things that are part of body language. And when we think of body language, immediately we think of these things that are appearing on the screen. And by the way, I want to kind of, even before getting deep into the discussion of body language, I absolutely assume that body language is something that is very known to you guys. And I'm not going to do something great. I'm not going to enlighten you. I'm not going to kind of give you some jam that you'll say wow and all. But what is going to happen is I'm going to remind you. I'm going to discuss with you. I'm going to participate or share certain things that all of us should believe. The moment I am talking about body language does not mean that I don't fumble, I don't make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. All of us are teachers. What we should do, what we need to do is we should strive for the best. Every day we should try to remember some of these things and try to implement, and so try to free ourselves from the kind of some false notions of certain stuff like prestige or whatever, whatever lot of societal prestiges that we have. Until we get rid of them, we become very free. You should be, the body should be free from all this stuff. Then only you can put, deploy your body for a proper use. The body language ideally would only come when you are free. When I say you are free, not just psychologically you are free, physically you should be free. You should not be rigid. You should not feel shy. When you have not done anything wrong, you should absolutely not feel shy. The shyness, rigidness, and underconfidence, or sometimes overconfidence, or thinking about what would others think about me when I speak, or do I make sense? Do I make mistakes? So all these things are going to pull you down. If it is not going to happen, the body language is going to play a very, very important role, and it is going to help us not just as a teacher but as a human being. Hence, I thought I'll just share some of things with you so that we will all follow. It's not just as a person who's going to teach or something. I'm not going to sound preachy about it. I'm going to teach about it, but I'm not going to be preaching about it, because we all know about it, and most of the times we follow it. Some of them we just ignore. Sometimes that might be very costly mistake. Anyway, so let's get back to our business of body language. So what is body language? What is it? It's a lot of things are there. Ways of talking. It's not about talking. Ways of talking. How do you talk? When you are presenting a language, where do you give pause? When you pause, what kind of expression that you give? You are going to stress on some words. Are you going to look at students? Are you going to look at somebody? Are you going to look at the only frontliners? Are you going to look at the backbenchers? Are you going to look at the middle ones? Are you going to look at the fan? Or you are going to kind of doesn't care what is happening in front of you? So the way you talk is very, very important. The way you present your true language is very, very important. So the way you talk is also part of body language. The way you deploy your body when talking. And then sound is absolutely important, because you are going to make certain sounds with your body as well, other than the postures and gestures through your hands and the body and all. As I told you, the body has to be very flexible. When I say body should be flexible, the face, the head is also part and parcel of body. So I just want to kind of ask you, am I visible to you? Guys, am I visible to you or on the presentation?
Yes, sir. Both.
Okay.
You are visible and your presentation is also visible.
Yeah, great. I thought I should be visible for some time at least, because I can't really put my body in front of the camera. So I just want to at least the face that I would like to kind of talk about. See, when I'm talking about sounds, the body per se will not make any sound, because you give a lot of postures and gestures. The sounds generally come from your head. While you're speaking, you laugh, you yawn, you scream, you frown. All these expressions would come from the body, that mouth. And everybody, and in general, there is a feeling that there has to be a lot of emphasis on speaking, intonation, accent, and all. But they don't focus more on how you speak. Whether you are able to, spell out what you want to speak. And people also have a huge issue. As a teacher, you should be able to remind the other persons, whether it is your colleagues or peer group or students, especially students, you should always keep reminding them that you be confident. You look at it, show your face, and use your mouth. These jaws are very important while speaking. You may be a very good speaker, you may have a good voice. See, a person like me, I don't have a good voice. I just, I sound very loud. That's something I can't do anything about it. But what I can do is, by being loud, I should control my voice. At the same time, I have to be audible always. And while being audible, I have to use entire my mouth so that I put out all the things that I have, so that you should be able to cannot be audible. So if you are not audible, or if you are not able to open your mouth, you always look underconfident. You are not able to convey what you want to convey, because you don't have confidence. You think that what you are speaking does not make sense. If you're confident, if you are so mastering your own stuff that you are speaking, you should be able to utter each and every word, not like swallowing certain last sentences, last words and all. And also laugh. yawn, screaming. Of course, screaming is very bad emotion in body language. Absolutely, we should not scream at anybody, no matter what. No matter what. Until unless in exception cases where things are absolutely getting out of hand, absolutely you have to do it. We are all, after all, we are human beings. But yawning is another, the worst or negative emotion in the body language where you feel sleepy or drowsy. If you feel sleepy or drowsy, that you are not going to send the right signal to the audience. Nobody is going to listen to you. Laugh and smile. Our emotions one must certainly use as part of body language. Very, very important, because these sounds will create a positive environment. It will create a very a friendly and cheerful environment where the audience would tend to become reciprocal. They tend to become reciprocal because that's the only way you want to sound friendly. See, you may not be a friend to them, but you are supposed to be friendly. They are supposed to sound friendly at least. How do you sound friendly? You can't simply go and touch them. That's I'm your friend. No, you can't do that. It's certain gestures, postures, certain sounds through which you communicate to the audience that I am friendly. You be nice to me, or you listen to me. So the being friendly, being cheerful environment, if you create, people are going to reciprocate. Why do they reciprocate? Because they are already positive. They are listening to you, whatever you are speaking. Certainly, they are going to do it. The third thing is closeness. See, the closeness is also very abstract thing. It is sound you are making sound. So there is a way of measuring your activity. The closeness is very abstract. You can't really closeness. That doesn't mean that you go and stand right in front of them. As a man, you can't really go and look at girls' face like this. It's absolutely amounts to harassment. That's not the way. That's not what I was talking about. Closeness is that you need to create that closeness. It's an abstract term. You are not going to be close physically. You create a closeness through this, the kind of positive environment, so that people should think that you are not harmful. You are not intimidating them. You are just part of them. You are very close to them. You may be a leader, you may be a professor, you may be a teacher, you may be a friend, but when the way you are creating certain environment through your body, that should create the closeness. They should feel that they should be able to say anything. They think that, oh, this is so nice, I am free to speak with this person. That creates a lot of positive environment. The other is body contact, like shaking hands, tapping them, as encouragement, but shaking hands with the firm hands, so that people think that the person is very close and encouraging. That creates also another part of body language that creates a positive environment. Facial expressions are absolutely important. Other than the sound, sound is something that is been created by the face, that is mouth, and the other expressions. Face is very important. Smiling. If you are keeping a smiling face, certainly it's going to pay off. People are going to think that you are a very nice person. See, it's very easy because they don't know who you are. They don't care who you are because they are going to come to your house and see what kind of person you are. Whatever the personality that you present in front of them, are they going to believe it? It doesn't matter what your personality is. So it's the best thing is for us, all of us, is whatever time we got, we should be able to present ourselves properly. So we should not frown, we should not give a negative emotions on the face. We should not show nervousness. We should always be smiling. We should be a little cheerful. Does not mean that whenever they are insulting you, you should be able to smile. No, I don't mean that. But you should be able to control them, of course. But at the same time, you should have that composure to make.
What happened, sir? హలో శైలజ
మేడం ఏదో ఆగిపోయింది మేడం సార్ దగ్గర.
సార్ వంశీ సార్ ఒక్కసారి 1 second, ఐ విల్ కాల్ హిమ్.
మేడం ఏమంటా మేడం ప్రాబ్లం?
శైలజ చెక్ చేస్తున్నారంట.
సరే మేడం, ఓకే.
Vamshi sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Sir, continue, sir, please.
Yeah. I'm absolutely sorry. There's some work that's happening. The LAN connection work is happening, so I didn't tell them. They just disconnected. Just told them. So sorry about the disturbance. Yes, it's audible. Thank you. So my kind of presentation that I'm trying to do it. Okay.
Sir, again start presenting your screen.
Yes, I'm doing it, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes. So hopefully you are able to see the slide. Anyway, I'll share the slide. The slide is not something great. I can always share the slide, and probably I can do right after the talk. Yes. Yes, so I'm talking about what is body language. I'm sorry to just get lost. Eye movements are very important. Hand movements are very important. Hand movements certainly is important because most of the times we tend to speak, and if you are like kind of very rigid and you are not going to move, that's not going to make sense. Hand movements are the ones which are going to emphasize on the kind of importance you are giving to this particular subject. If you are talking about a particular subject and you want to emphasis on a particular issue, the facial expression, the hands are very, very, of course, the legs also they make very important role because you go a little close, you go back. When you want to make a point, you tend to step forward. And when you want to conclude, you step backward. So all these are strategies, indirectly to make a certain impact on the audience. So hand and head are very absolutely, the entire body is important, but no, the hand and head make more sense because that also kind of tells you what is so important about the topic that you are talking about. And if you want to lay certain emphasis or importance on a particular aspect, the head and hand are going to play a very important role. And appearance, so appearance is very tricky. See, many times I was kind of, when I talk to our own IIT students, they always ask me, see, how does it matter? I should be able to establish right connection with the people. How do I look like? Doesn't matter. So that's a new way of thinking. See, earlier, when as part of body language, as part of presentation skills and soft skills, we were always been told that you should always look, formal, should look, tidy, the dressing has to be little, always should be very good and all. So that's something that I also subscribe to it, but I don't fully subscribe to it. What I would always prefer is that appearance is always, it's like, beauty in the eyes of beholder, always lies in the eye of beholder. It's all about how do you want to appear yourself to others. If you are as long as you are not untidy, you are not, the clothes that you wear are not dirty or anything, or the way you present yourself, for example, some people are talking about, the growing beard or having certain hairstyle. Is it going to have an impact on the audience or the kind of dressing style that you have? I think, yes, it may, certain stuff certainly will have certain perceptions. If you have a crazy hairstyle, it is going to create certain preconceived notions. And if you have a crazy clothing style, certainly it is going to create certain impact. So what happens is that this appearance is going to create certain impact even before you are going to speak. So if you want to kind of either you want to continue that kind of impression and go ahead, that's up to us, or you want to change a bit through your language, that's up to you. So, but it is not a strict formula that you have to have a good dressing, you need to have a great clothes or branded ones and all. That doesn't make sense in the era of globalization. In the era of globalization, what makes sense is that it should look good. That's it. That look good is very subjective. It is up to you how you want to present yourself. If you want to present in a different alternative way and still impress people, absolutely fine. Nobody's going to stop you on that note. The other is postures. What kind of posture that you give? How do you stand? What kind of when you sit? How do you sit? Whether what kind of legs and what kind of hands and body that you want to present it to the people is absolutely important. And anyway, the next slide is going to talk about why is it important. Of course, I've been talking about why body language is very important, because most of the communication happens through body language. We always tend to think it's only language. So we tend to prioritize the language, but not so much about body language. And body language, the best part about body language is that when you speak, people listen. Through body language, you also kind of get reciprocal. Always very you talk through your body. Others also respond through your body without talking. So you present yourself, and then they also present themselves in front of you, right? So they also, even though they may want to be very aggressive, they may want to intimidate you. Sometimes we always have errant students or crazy students or crazy persons or problematic students or problematic persons in our life. So what they do is they always try to poke you. They always try to find faults with what you speak. What happens is that at least through your body language, you try to be friendly, you try to present the cheerful environment there. At least they will at least be a little reciprocal, and if you are going to give a positive environment, that is going to be very highly contagious. If you give it, everybody will give it. Everybody will give back and reciprocate in the same way. Everything will become very, very positive. And that's where you can also hide your mistakes. If at all you inadvertently any mistake that you commit, that also can be forgiven. Yeah, so while your mouth says something, your body might say something else. That's very, very important. Why body language is important. See, many times, you may want to say something great. You may be a very kind person, or you may make big announcements, or you may make a certain decision that is going to impact many people, but you don't keep that intention, that message in your body. See, it's not the language that carries the message. It is also the body that carries the message. If you are not flexible, if you are not animated, if you are not going to present the message along with your body, the message will not be conveyed. Absolutely, it is not going to be effective communication. Effective communication is only the effective communication when you kind of balance both your body and the language. Your body is rigid. You are going to announce a great plan of great offers to your, the people who are in front of you, but your body says something else. Your body is frozen. Your body is rigid. You don't want to come out. See, if your body is rigid, it tells you that you don't want to open up. You are not a transparent person. You are not a person who who want to explore, who want to get explored, or you want to kind of be friendly with others. So that's going to create a huge problem. So don't depend on what just your mouth says. Depend heavily on what your body says. A mistake through your body, you can taste it through your hands, legs, and head. The facial expressions, you can always cover it. The type of gestures, these are very, very common gestures that I'm going to talk about. So they are, descriptive gestures where, you also kind of, through gestures, through your body, especially shoulders, hands, and, head, you also try to clarify using eyes, you're asking, am I making sense? Am I going to announce this? Do you understand what I'm saying? This kind of very descriptive, kind of stuff where it enhance your verbal message. You talk about something, then you through your body you try to clarify or to extend what you are trying to say. The emphatic is something that you underscore the verbal message. You are trying to say something very important, and you want to make sure that others remember it. So you try to make little emphasis on that particular aspect. Either through the upper body is very important, the head and the shoulders, the hands, because you try to show that this is very important that you are talking about. So gestures, and you say that this is very important. You don't say that every time that what I'm talking is important. What you do is you will be talking important things, of course, but you are not going to say that you are talking important things. Your body will say that it's very important. That's what empathic gesture is all about. Suggestive, you are kind of started a conversation. You are ready to receive certain things from the audience. You are ready to suggest something. So your body is welcoming the kind of stuff that is coming from you. You are ready to listen to them. Your facial expression is so cheerful, so friendly, so that people are kind of feel that they're kind of welcomed. And prompting is another gesture where you would like to kind of evoke or provoke or motivate the other person who is in front of you, so that you get the desired response. You tend to ask, what do you think about this? Or how do you do this? Or you tell me what do you think on how to talk about. Let's kind of